Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of the AgriCapitalist Podcast, where we talk about hidden treasures in plain sight. As it is my tradition, I want to thank every one of you that have been with us up to this very moment. I want to say a big thank you to you watching, to you commenting, to you liking, to you sharing. You are amazing. Thank you so much. I am so grateful. Today we'll be talking about choosing between fertilizers and composting. Now, this is a very important subject. In recent times, there is a major discourse around the agricultural ecosystem. There is the people that are supporting the motion of fertilizers, and there is a new generation of people that are talking in favor of composting. So I would bring forth the two ideas, and I'll try as much as I can to see how we can help each other in choosing what is right, so we get the best from our farms. So let's start with fertilizers, the one that we are most familiar with. So fertilizers are basically chemicals that are applied into the soil or to plants to ensure that you get the most yield, to ensure that you get growth. Do you understand? It is more like something you had to complement the weakness of your soil. You understand? Let's say you plant a crop, and within a period of time you are supposed to get XYZ yield or this level of growth, for instance, and you've gone to check and you are not seeing the results you desire. There is the option of adding fertilizers to boost the yield, to boost the growth, right? While that seems like a quick fix, here is the side effect of fertilizers. The side effect of fertilizers is this: if you overuse fertilizers, you are going to get low productivity with time, because you are going to overstress the soil, take so much from the soil without giving back. Because mind you, fertilizers are for the crop's productivity, right? So nothing is being done to the soil. And it's like having a woman that you are taking care of the child in the womb. Every time you are taking care of the child in the womb with no consideration to the woman, you understand, that is giving birth to the child. At the end of the day, you might not even have the woman there to give birth to any child for you. So that is the side effect of fertilizers. Why they are good in terms of bringing out the yield from your crops, at the same time they are not helping the soil most times. So that leads me to the second idea of composting. Composting, on the other hand, is this: composting, they are waste. They are waste. When I mean waste, your kitchen scraps, right? Foods that you've eaten and the waste, you keep them. Over time, you just create a pile of your waste. Over time, then trees, the leaves, they are dumped as waste. Over time, they get to decompose. They get to decompose to the point where they are now used as manure, organic manure, for our soil. So what that means in essence is this: either way, you are going to add something to the soil to get productivity, right? But while fertilizer is one of the go-to solution for productivity, it is not adding value to the soil. It's just only adding value to the crop. So if you are actually in it for the long run, fertilizer alone is not the solution. It's not entirely the solution, because one, you can imagine the expense of always applying fertilizers every season. You understand? And the bigger you get, the more fertilizers you add to your farm. The bigger your farm, the more the fertilizers application. So you can understand. So while you are growing, if fertilizer is your only option, while you are growing, the expense for fertilizer is increasing, right? Now, composting. Composting are actually waste, things that you are not using, food stuff you are not using. Let me give you a practical example about composting and how they help. You see, if you dump a food waste here and you leave it, here's what will happen. After a period of time, you come back to it, you start seeing worms, right? So there are microorganisms that will start, that will be attracted to that food stuff, that food waste. Over time, they start decomposing, turning into liquid, right? To the point where they start turning into sand, more like sand. Yeah, that is the process of decomposing for compost. This compost, when added to your soil, you don't add them immediately, like the waste immediately. You pile them first and let them decompose, then add to the soil. Though it's going to take time, that is the one bad thing about composting. It takes time. It takes time for it to decompose to the point where you can now add it to your soil for improved productivity. But then it is more profitable to you going into farming as a business in the long run. I don't know if you get. So while fertilizer is good immediately, composting is good in the long run. It helps to boost your soil health. So back to composting. Yes, the good thing about composting. Composting helps to boost your soil health. What I mean is this: while the food waste are there, over time they start attracting microorganisms that are essential to the health of the soil. So while these microorganisms are being attached, they eat the food waste, the scraps, the tree leaves, all those things that are being dumped, and over time they start defecating on it as well, on the soil. Over time they start staying on the soil, and once those microorganisms are active on your soil, the soil is no longer just dead, it is now a living soil. So the idea of composting is getting a living soil that your plants can thrive better on. See, there is a thing in farming that is called aeration, wherein air can enter into your soil. A major problem most farmers have in farming is that the soil are so compact. There is no air going into the soil. The soil are so compact. That's why most people don't advise tilling the ground. We'll talk about that in a different episode. We'll talk about this tilling and no tilling idea. Which one is more profitable? Today we are talking about fertilizers and composting. So I've talked about fertilizers good for your soil, for your crop, but at the end of the day, it's at the detriment of the soil. So which means after a period of time, you might have to change location. But if you are going into farming for the long run, you don't want to change location, right? You just want to expand from where you are, right? So the best thing to do is to switch to composting. So here is the good thing with composting. While it is going to take some time for it to decompose to the point where it's now useful to your soil, here is what you can do. Usually decomposing your food waste and your waste that is going to decompose into compost that will then be turned to organic manure for your soil, it's ideal you keep those wastes, you prepare it down, let's say 3 to 6 months before farming. So what you do in essence is this: as you are done with this season, you start gathering. So before the next season, you start dumping them. You understand? So before the next season, when it is time for you to apply such your compost to the soil, it has decomposed. And here is how it works. I'll share a particular video for how to create a compost, but let me just share some tip on how it works. Usually composts are made of food waste, tree cuttings like leaves, branches, woods, your tree branches, the bark of trees, the trunks of trees, just those green layers of trees, right? So you break them or you leave them to decompose. But if you leave them to decompose, the tree cuttings, it's going to take a longer time. So what you do is you break them, you mash them, right? Then your food stuff, you don't even need to do anything about it, just gather them. So while you are not using them, the vegetables, the waste, instead of just sending it to the guy to just throw it in the dirt, you create a bin for it specifically. Save your dirt, save your food waste, and it is going to save your farm. You understand? So while saving the food waste, a portion of your land, dedicate it to composting. Dump those waste on your land, right? Same as your tree cuttings, the leaves, dump them as well on that same, your food waste. Over time, they are going to decompose. And when it is time for you to apply them on your soil, usually you apply them on your soil before planting. When you are doing your land preparation, that's when you apply your compost into it. So while you are waiting for the season to start, they are already decomposing. And when they decompose to the point where they are good enough, it's when they turn to brown. This soil type of brown, they are more like sand. They are no longer smelling. You understand? They have this earthy smell. That is the point where they've already decomposed. I don't know if you are conversant, if you do a lot of research, you will see that most farms, their soil are very brownish. Very brownish. It's more like they have wood stuff in it. Yes, it is the fact that they use compost other than just fertilizers. So while fertilizer is a very good thing, it helps to improve your crop yield. Composting helps to improve your soil health over time. The more you apply compost to your soil, the more your yield. So here's the advantage. Here's the tip for you watching this. While you are building your compost, apply a bit of fertilizer. Now, it shouldn't be the major thing. It should be something you try when you see that there is a need for it. Remember, it is when you are not seeing the results in your soil, in your crop, right? You are seeing, so you are noticing some things, you are observing some things, and you apply your fertilizer to it. But invest most of your energy, most of your time in creating compost. It will help you in the long run. Yes, so that is it for today's episode. Thanks for watching, and if you are new, please like and subscribe. I will do a video specifically for compost so you can get the proper understanding. This one is more like a surface level information because we are talking between choosing fertilizers and compost. I hope you find value. Until next time, cheers.